Do you ever get a quote or a saying stuck in your head, but you can't quite remember it? And it just drives you crazy until you finally have to look it up or ask someone? Recently, I kept trying to remember a quote that starts with the words, "Life is." I'll bet you just finished that quote for me, didn't you? But did you finish it the same way? Maybe you quoted Forrest Gump and said, "Life is like a box of chocolates," meaning that life is full of surprises and you never know what you're going to get next when you bite into it. Or maybe you quoted Kate Winslet and said, "Life is short and it is here to be lived." Here on my channel, I try to focus on dwelling in the moment and delighting in finding the joy and the little lessons that God teaches me each day. Life truly is short, and we've got to live it the best way we know how. One of my favorite quotes is, "Life is a flower of which love is the honey." None of the things we do in this life, not our work or the things we do for fun or enjoyment, have any meaning without love. The love of family, the love of friends, the love of God. Without love, our pursuits are meaningless and empty. With love, they can be sweeter than honey and smell more divine than the honeysuckle blossoms.
We're getting so close. They're gonna be ready soon, and I'll be making my vinegar.
Or perhaps you thought of that famous quote by Grandma Moses, "Life is what we make it, always has been, always will be." I remember my mom telling me when I was a girl that we get out of this life what we put into it. We decide every morning what kind of day we're going to have by the attitude we choose. We can choose to start with a smile and make it a day of blessing, or we can choose to be miserable. I wonder if she knows the Grandma Moses quote, or if she's just always been that wise.
When I watered the garden this morning, I saw that my chives were in full bloom. Okay, maybe not full, there's a few that haven't popped open yet, but they're mostly bloomed. And I want to make sure to grab these blooms and make my chive blossom vinegar before I lose the opportunity. There's some clouds in the sky and a little bit of thunder, so I gotta get this job done fast.
So far, we've thought of 4 really excellent life is quotes, but none of them were the one that was tickling my brain, and I just had to keep searching until I found it.
Now, as I've told you guys before, I am a newbie at most things out here in my kitchen garden, and this is no exception. I watched a few videos and learned from some other people who are a little more experienced than me. There's a couple different ways to do this. The first way is to cup the bloom in your fingers and snap it off. It doesn't matter if you get a little bit of stem, you can trim that off later. The second way is to use your handy dandy clippers and clip the bloom off down at the bottom. And then when you get it in the house and you get ready to prepare your vinegar, you only use the tender parts of the stem for whatever you're going to use chives for, and everything else just gets composted. Now, one lady told me that she found that her plants performed better if she trimmed out the whole stem. So that's what I'm gonna do and see if it makes a difference. Last year I just pulled the blooms off the top. This year I'm gonna try doing the whole stem and see if I notice a difference. I'll let you know. I'm saving these that haven't opened yet because there are some wonderful recipes I saw using the petals from the flowers in salads, and I'm gonna give it a try. It's supposed to be kind of a little spicy and a real flavorful addition, not to mention the pretty lavender color. So I'm gonna give it a try. I'll save those and see what happens. I got a couple that were not fully opened yet. That's a shame. All right, I'm gonna save these. I'll use the parts that I can, and the rest will go in the compost bin. And then I do want to go ahead and harvest some of these. You'll notice how long all of this is. I need to go ahead and cut some of this back. It's a little out of control.
If you got the time, I'd like to stay a while. Do you remember what I said last time we met? Would you like to move a little closer now? I'd like to be as close to you as I can get. If I could stop the time, I sure would. In this moment, I really wish I could. Do you feel the same way as I do? That feeling of just knowing that I love you.
Aha! I finally did it. I finally remembered the life is quote that has been tickling my brain. John Lennon is usually credited with the quote, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." As usual, I got curious and did some research. John Lennon included those words in the song Beautiful Boy, but he was inspired by a quote in a 1957 Reader's Digest by Alan Saunders. The original quote by Alan Saunders says, "Life is what happens to us while we are making other plans." Either way, the sentiment captures my life over the last few weeks. I've been consumed with getting my vegetables planted out in the raised beds, my veggies and herbs into their containers on the deck, and keeping up with the end of the school year chaos. Life has just been happening around me while I've been busy making other plans in the garden. Seeing my chives blooming inspired me to stop and smell the blossoms for a little while. And while I was working away on using some of my chives, I realized that I'd been so consumed with my veggies and rushing here and there dealing with track meets and graduation events that I had almost completely missed out on appreciating all of my spring flowers. Luckily, I've been capturing photos and videos of them when they catch my eye, so I can go back and appreciate them now as I'm editing this video footage. But what if I hadn't? What if I hadn't pulled out my phone and filmed them every time they caught my eye? What if I just kept rushing through my life and my days, focused on what was right in front of me, focused on my other plans and never noticing the startling beauty that was blossoming all around me? Life, colorful, glorious, vibrant life, was bursting into bloom every moment of every day, and I could have completely missed it. To be honest, I did miss a lot of it. I wish I had taken a few more moments to just sit out in the garden and enjoy watching the flowers sway in the breeze and seeing how the landscape changed a little bit every day. I need to do a better job of just dwelling in the beauty of the moment rather than rushing around planning for what's coming up ahead and missing out on the best of the blooms. And maybe I should be pulling a few more weeds along the way while I'm at it.
Ah, weeds. I thought I had all these pulled.
One final quote for you, and it's my own. Life is like a chive blossom, here today, gone tomorrow, and you can make it become whatever you want it to be.
These chive blossoms still smell amazing, even though they're done. Just like this video. I hope you enjoyed it, so make sure to bop the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.